A warm good morning, dears. I am Agil Surya. Today's topic is plants have life. We have noticed that we humans are different to each other by character, likes, dislikes, hobbies, interests, etc. Similarly, our attitude towards another group of living creatures like plants are also different. From our childhood, we have seen and learned about plants. We all know its importance in this earth for the sustenance and balance of ecosystem. Hence, we conduct and take part in various campaigns to conserve them. But do we really conserve them for their lives or for our lives? Yes, we are a bit selfish, right? Directly or indirectly, we need them to live. Hence, we conserve them. And this is the prevailing attitude towards plants. So, I made this video so that not all who watch this video become plant lovers, but just to create some curiosity about plants in you. So, let me start. I would like to start the presentation through a few questions, which will at least make you think about plants for a moment. What are plants? Are they beneficial? Why do they exist? And where do they exist? As we all know it, plants, a big definitions and all we can give, but for an outline with a basic, they are a group of living creatures similar to us living in this earth. And they are obviously beneficial for the whole earth, and some of them are toxic. Still, those toxicity balances the ecosystem. And they exist in earth, soil, water, air, and artificial mediums, etc. And why do they exist? If they realize the answer for that, then my work is done. The aim of myself is to create an awareness or to change the attitude towards plants. So up to this, we consider plants as a similar like living creatures. They may be synthesizing their own food or maybe depending on other organism like pitcher plant. But the main change in attitude towards plants, even in a child, starts from the upcoming questions. Do they talk, hear, sense, or share? Have they got mouth, ears, nose, eyes, memories to do all these things? And are plants sensitive? Predominantly, there are some of the people uh, there may be thousands of people who support like plants have life, plants are living creatures, they have sensitivity, etc. But there are some people who doesn't even understand if we say plants can hear us. So there are thousands of questions like this, but I think some of the answers maybe you can find it in this video. Plants, do they really have a life like us? Yes, they do. So who discovered plants have life? Initially, the importance of plants were not accepted by science. Later, in 1901, May 10th, Jagdish Chandra Bose, after his various experiments on plants, he concluded by saying that plants grow and die and it's a cyclic mechanism. And thus he defined plants as they are creatures with definite life cycles, reproductive systems, and are aware of their surroundings. All his findings were published as books titled Response in Living and Non-Living in 1902 and The Nervous Mechanism of Plants in 1926. Jagdish Chandra Bose, he experimentally demonstrated his theory of plants have life at Royal Society in London, where he used his own invention called frescograph that shows or records the plant movement. Through his invention, he introduced the world of plants to human. Frescograph is a device that has a series of gears and a smoked glass plate which records the movement of plant's tip. So if we keep a plant over here and the reflection will be recorded in this black plate. The plate catches the reflection of the plant tip and it was marked according to the movement of the plant. In his experiment, he dipped a plant in bromide, a poison. The pulse beat of the plant or the electromagnetic waves of the plant was steady until it took the poison. Once it started taking the poison, the spots on the smoke plate became unsteady, and through this experiment, he said that the plants have life. If not, the plants wouldn't have been reacting to the poison. He also showed how plants react or behave to different environmental factors like temperature, chemicals, electricity, gases, and humidity. Nowadays, there are numerous devices available in the market that converts the electric waves or the pulses in the plants to music. And this music is used as mind relaxing tunes in different therapies. The peculiar thing about this is that the music is unique to each plant. Wow, that's amazing, right? Compiling all his findings, he was the first to study the action of microwaves in plant tissues, changes in plant cell membrane potential, electrical nature of conduction in plants for a stimuli, which was initially believed it was due to the chemical nature, and later the plants are sensitive to pain and affection. And they are similar to other organisms where plants too fight for territory, food, evade predators, trap prey, etc. The work of Sir Jagadish Chandra Bose laid the foundation for all these findings and its development. Apart from some exceptions, majority of plants do not show rapid reflexes as animals do. Hence, these findings could be visible if we look into a time-lapse video of a plant. There are many videos available in the internet. I have considered one such video of Sir David Attenborough.
If you speed up time, plants begin to reveal their true nature. They're not passive organisms, as you might think, but competitive creatures every bit as aggressive as animals. They're locked in a desperate battle for light and space. They stretch and pulse as they strive to barge their way into pole position. Creepers and vines reach around for the branch or stem of another plant on which to hitch a ride.
It's clear that plants move and compete for light, air, space, growth, etc. They move with purpose that they are aware of surroundings. Based on these findings, the evolved research showed that plants need sophisticated sensing devices tuned to varying conditions. You all would have noticed caterpillar feeding on leaves. They produce minute cutting sounds. When we compared these plants exposed to Beethoven music and the approaching hungry caterpillar, the results were totally different. The munching noise of caterpillar produced higher defensive chemicals in plants. This shows that the plants respond to different sound waves. These findings were published in the book entitled The Secret Life of Plants. It was written by Peter Tompkins and Christopher Birds in 1973. Now we have proof that plants respond or react to different sounds. So it's clear that in one way or the other, they hear the sounds. But do plants have ears to hear the sounds? Plants have specialized mechanoreceptors in their cells, which stretches to produce mechanical deformalities that converts the sound waves to electrical and finally to chemical signals. Similar mechanism happens for sensing smell. The volatile gases from neighboring plants produced or released as a signal is recognized by the receptors in the plant and are finally converted to chemical signals. The roots of the plant respond to sound waves of the similar frequencies of themselves that matches to themselves. So, the plants can perform conversations and communications underground. This is how they communicate each other secretly without our knowledge. There is a chemical component, namely a protein called actin, in the exoskeleton of plant cell that play a key role in signal transmission. The University of Lausanne in 2014 conducted an experiment where Arabidopsis leaves were eaten by caterpillar. This action triggered a wave of electrical activity in Arabidopsis that was similar to that of glutamate receptors. The glutamate receptors works in the central nervous system of animals as neurotransmitters. But the thing to be noted is that the plants do not have a nervous system, or it is not yet discovered in plants. Hence, these results with developed research served as a key for the discovery of a new field in plant science called plant neurobiology. So that is how different signals get transmitted to chemical signals in plants. That is how they recognize different senses like us. So now it's evident that they can hear, they can smell and sense more, but not in the way we do, in a similar way, but with a slight different mechanisms. Now comes the next question. Can plants see? It doesn't mean that they have eyes like us. Observe this video. This video includes an experiment which explains the answer for our question. The potted plant is kept in the center and two supports are placed at different distances from the plant. But I wonder how the plant could correctly bend towards the nearest support and not to the other one kept a little far away from its creeping. Does it have eyes like us to see which one is the closest one? No, they don't. We would have noticed among animals there are many creatures like bats, toothed whales, and more. They are adapted to echolocations. Similarly, plants too are adapted to receive different sounds, lights, and waves by their specialized receptors. For example, plants have photoreceptors but no eyes, but still they grow towards the direction of light due to the presence of photoreceptors. Arabidopsis have at least 11 photoreceptors. The much evolved species we consider as humans have just 2 photoreceptors, namely rod cells and corn cells. Plants may lack the nervous system, other complex features like us, but they are excellent in their own areas. For example, if we are exposed to heavy sunlight, it creates sunburns so that we have legs and we move towards the shade. But plants in that condition cannot move, but they receive and survive that condition with altering their mechanisms. In this case, they have advanced mechanisms than us. As we said earlier, plants react to different sounds. Various researchers from different areas of the world have experimented musical sounds to the growth and development of plants. Dr. T.C. Singh in 1962 experimented different Indian classical musics from violin, harmonium, and veena towards different plant species. It was noted that in balsam plant, he observed a 20% of increase in its height and 72% of increase in its biomass. When he experimented the same in the field crops, he observed that an increase of 25 to 60% of crop yield was noted above the regional average. Among them, the violin music gave the greatest outcome. Another experiment that were conducted on seeds exposed to music before sowing resulted with increased number of leaves and increased size of leaves. The scientific explanation of the physicist put forth is that the waves of sound and that are stored as energy in the seeds and are not transmitted. And when it comes to a favorable condition to sprout out, they are filled with higher energy source than the untreated ones. Hence, the resulted observation was seen. But still, the controversies are on with these explanations. Similarly, in 1973, a group of scientists exposed plants to Ritalox rock music. The result was astonishing. The results showed that the plants showed a tendency to move far from the sound, and abnormal water intake and abnormality in mechanisms were seen in the plants. And followingly, the plants faced death in 2 weeks. It was explained that the energy that the sound waves contained was too much for the plants to bear. These experiments clearly shows that plant could differentiate different musics and sounds and waves, and this indicates they have a well sophisticated photoreceptors for senses. When a Canadian engineer Eugene Canby gave J.S. Bach's violin sonata music to Wheat, the plants resulted with a 66% of increased yield. When a sound waves are created, they hit the particles and reaches our eardrum, and it vibrates our eardrum. It creates a pressure difference, and this difference initiates an electrical signal, and it is unique for unique sounds. And these signals are recognized by the brain, and that is how we hear a sound. But in plants, the pressure will be formed in the receptors due to the vibrations of the particles, and they are not heard, but they are sensed by the plants. The vibrations pick up in plants increases the protoplasmic movement that stimulates photosynthesis. This is how the plant performs well. But increased energized vibrations, like rock music, it becomes overloaded for the plants and it causes malfunction and ultimately the death of the plant. It is similar to the over sound what we hear that damages our eardrum. When we come to the soil and root of plants, they too are sensitive to different vibrations in the ground. A similar mechanism was explained for the experimental results seen in barefoot Bharatanatyam, a South Indian traditional dance which was performed near a field of crops. It resulted with a 2 weeks earlier flowering. All these experiments proves that all the parts of the plants are well aware of its surroundings. Whether the part is above the soil or below the soil, the plant parts are well aware of its surroundings. Here comes the next question. Do plants have feelings? Are they reactive to feelings? Let me ask you a question. How many of you talk to plants? At least potted plants at home? No way. People around me thinks I have gone crazy. Is it so? No, it's not like that. In our childhood days, we used to talk to our dolls, pillows, cars, etc. Similarly to plants, asking for at least a new flower, a beautiful leaf. When a new sprout is seen, we feel happy and gives compliment to the plants. Wow, you are beautiful. You have a new leaf. Does all these feelings is understandable by plants? Here comes a study done by IKEA students of UAE, where plants were exposed to compliments and abusive words, and the results was extraordinary. In the experiment, two similar healthy potted plants were brought from the market and were exposed to recorded abusive words and compliments from the school students. Let me see what happens. It's a 30-day study.
Nobody likes you. No one notices when you're in the room.
You're a mistake.
You're useless. You're not even green.
You look rotten. Are you really even alive?
I like you the way you are. Seeing you blossom makes me happy.
You're making a difference in the world.
You are beautiful.
I brought them here to see the plant. I was like, a plant is getting bullied. Like, it's not normal.
I think it's an excellent project. To have something tangible that they can actually physically be a part of is, I think, going to be very powerful.
As the weeks passed, I started noticing that the one that was being bullied started kind of to droop.
While the plant that was being complimented, it was flourishing and beautiful.
It's raised the profile massively of different forms of bullying and the effects that bullying can have on people.
If it affects a plant, it can definitely affect other people.
Wow, that was a wonderful video. If it can affect a plant, surely it can affect a people. So we know that when someone hurt us through words, abusive word, it affects us. So we have to realize that it affects the other way also, the plant too. So the 30 days studies explains that plants are sensitive to words. They can differentiate the words. They have the feelings, not like us, but they have it in their own different mechanisms. And finally, we come to a noticeable question. Do plants have memory? In 1966, scientists made a polygraph test on plants to know whether plants have memory or not. A nearby plant was killed in front of other plant. The person who killed the plant, along with a few other people, were allowed to interact with the living plant one by one. The result was mind-blowing. It showed that the plant remembered the killer and exhibited a fear in the polygraph test.
In 1966, Cleve Baxter, former CIA, made a polygraph test. He connected a dragon pot plant to a lie detector. Within a group, it can recognize the exact person who destroyed its partner, and also conveys the fear. Obviously, the plants have memory and feeling. According to Stefano Mancuso, Italian scientist, plants' memory can last at least 40 days. Plants, undoubtedly, have consciousness.
Wow, that was discovery. So dear friends, if you had a different attitude towards plants before, I kindly request you to change it after viewing this video. Plants, they're amazing creatures. They can sense sound, touch, feel, and even have memory and consciousness. So friends, behave well to a plant and remember, they know you. Much more researchers are on its way. Who knows, in future some may come up with further advancements in plants that blows our minds and belief about plants. Luckily, you may be one among them. Dear friends, that's all from me for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you all for watching, and I acknowledge all the sources of the information. If you like the video, kindly like and subscribe my channel for updates. Thank you and have a nice day.